I start. Some weeks ago, these two reports were published on climate change and biodiversity, official results of research of 195 countries. The reports indicate the danger of fundamentally changed conditions for life on Earth. And this concerns architecture and urban planning as well. We cannot go on with business as usual. The building construction sector is a major polluter. What to do? We cannot stop building. Housing shortage and migration and the population explosion. The concept of Biotope city is reflecting this. The basic philosophy of the Biotope city concept says the city is embedded in the complex interrelationship of nature. It means the city is not an antithesis of nature, but it's one of its manifestations. The dense city is a type of nature. What does this mean in building activities? Here you have a list of measures be carried out, and you will hear more about this on this symposium now. But before we take this step, I want to talk a bit more about what the core of the concept of Biotope city is. To understand the core is very important for all people engaged in planning and building it, because we are talking about a whole network of measures. This is a highly complex process. Hundreds of people are working on a larger project. And at many points, they have to do things differently than they are used to do. They have to understand why. This is really essential for the success of a project. In the Biotope city Wienerberg, this was the case. Everyone was ultimately fulfilled by the concept, even down to the construction workers. They talked about building the spirit of Biotope city, and they were proud on it. So what is the concept of Biotope city? Biotope city takes the next steps from sustainability by using the regenerative forces of nature. This little graphic, you may remind on what you have learned at school long ago, perhaps about plants. They play a central role. Let's look back in history of life on Earth. What are our living conditions as humans? We as vertebrates can only live in a very narrow spectrum of conditions concerning temperature, humidity, and air. We have to recognize plants are makers of our breathable air. Leaf green plays a central role. Provocatively, one could say they are superior to us. The Italian-French philosopher Emanuele Coccia has dedicated an entire book on this insight. He says, our philosophy puts Homo sapiens in the most important place in creation, but actually it's just the other way around. It's the plants on which everything depends. Plants can do much more than we can, and we are, in a sense, parasites of their abilities. With the plants only need sun and water for staying in life. With photosynthesis, they produce energy and food. We would like to be able to do this. They create their own soil with their own becoming and passing away. They regulate temperature by evaporation, and they interact with other beings to get help for pollination and seed transport. Plants do business with other species. They offer food in return. What can we learn from this? Oh, it has stopped going on with the sheet. What can I do? Hello.
Maybe use the cursor, like the right indicator, like the tab.
I have.
Or you move the cursor, yeah.
But
click.
Yeah, but it doesn't work.
Wenn du einfach nur die Tastatur nimmst mit einem Rechtsklick.
Ja, ich habe hier keinen Rechtsklick.
Nein, nur den
But this
Pfeil.
is working now. We are seeing the next slide with the leaves.
You see just the other slides as well, and so it is not such a problem. Well, I've said, what can we learn from the plants? But it's doing business with plants, and yeah, let's offer them living space, and they offer us in return this list of abilities. This is most important for us, but they even offer us more. They offer us in material for our buildings and build structures, and this concerns the trees, the wood. But plants need, they need unsealed soil and water and light. Cooperation with plants in the city means cohabitation and offering them space next to our buildings, next and around the buildings, on the roofs, the facades. And yes, rethinking planning. And building for cohabitation with plants and their trees. This is city as nature. It improves biodiversity too. And it can help us solving our problems, negative effects of climate and biodiversity through building. And it makes possible to build without, or better, less climate and environmental damaging consequences. My conclusion is we need a new social contract with the world of plants. Now, let's have a look at Biotope City, Wiener Berg, a new quarter without cars, green cover as much as possible. It's on the former industrial plot of Coca-Cola, which was nearly 100% sealed. The data.
Recording in progress.
What is he? Well, I only name. You can always read these details on the site of Biotope City Journal. I only want to underline it's very dense and 60% social housing. And the whole process was guided and controlled by an advanced microsimulation of greening and its effects. The neighborhood is in high density and at the same time a high quality of life. It's really special. The measures here, short overview, recycling the demolition material, sponge city, complete use of rainwater, greening, habitats for Biotope City, and the results are really smashing. 2.2 degrees lower air temperature and 23 degrees lower felt temperature. Well, now let's take a walk through Biotope City. 289 trees They are not so big so far, but they will give shade in the summer and light and sun in the winter. Urban gardening. An facade green, the effects are remarkable. Up to 28 degrees cooler surfaces on buildings, and that is very important for in the night. Gardens for tenants and owners, also for handicapped people, and of course, green roofs, and on 2 of the flats in social housing, 2 swimming pools. These are the most recent photos from the roof. And there's a restaurant with a view on the natural pond for the overflow of rain, heavy rain. Well, the project is awarded with the Green Pass Platinum. Here see the vice mayor of Vienna proudly showing it. Well, I want to point out 2 very important characteristics of the planning and implementation process. Very necessary is, in the very beginning, a contract commitment of the main actors to the Biotope city concept, the investors, but also the architects and landscape architects, and of course the city have to declare their commitment. This is very important. More, it is essential. And then very useful is microclimate simulation in all planning steps with regarding to greening, wind orientation, in investment costs and maintenance costs. In the case of Biotope City Wienerberg, we had an extraordinary chance to a scientific monitoring by a multidisciplinary team under the lead of the BOKU and the Foundation Biotope City. The result of this was a manual how to build a biotope city. It's not yet available in English, we hope soon, but it's already available in German, and it is on the site of Biotope City Journal published, and on the site of the BOKU, the ILAB. By the way, for all those who do not really know the Foundation Biotope City, it's a non-profit organization without any commercial interest with their activities. For instance, the Symposium, it's based on people concerned about climate change and loss of biodiversity, as the young people are doing, who are just at this time on the streets today. We are on the Friday for Future. I thank you for your attention.